Hi and welcome to another short music theory session. Today's video is all about rhythm. I will go over some basic concepts suitable for everyone making music before diving a bit deeper into concepts specifically useful for electronic music producers and electroacoustic composers. As usual, there will be plenty of practical examples. There's some cool stuff in this video, so I hope by the end of the video you will view rhythm not just as something that comes from simply arranging drum hits on a timeline, but as a holistic property influenced by everything going on in your music production. Alright, let's get right into it. For this video, I first want to give you an overview over some very general but practical terms related to rhythm, as they arose from traditional music practice. After that, we will have a look at a contemporary view of rhythm, followed by a few simple practical examples that you can recreate and expand on using your own hardware and software, before ending with a final patch that brings it all together. So let's start all the way at the beginning. What is rhythm? Over the last couple 100 years, Western music was commonly recorded and communicated via note sheets. All rhythmic information therefore needed to be included in those sheets, which meant that rhythm, more often than not, was the result of the placements, loudness and pitch of notes within a given meter. Two concepts that we should be aware of surrounding this kind of framework are polymeter and polyrhythm. For a beat to be considered polymetric, the drum hits on the different drum voices are aligned on the beat grid, the downbeats are not aligned, which results in these shifting beat patterns that you may have come across before if you've worked with, say, Euclidean sequencers. Polyrhythm means that different rhythms are playing at the same time. This is normally achieved by different instruments having different time signatures. So one instrument could be at a 4/4 time signature, while another is at a 3/4 or a 6/8. So while for a polymeter the step length for each instrument is the same and the downbeat differs, for a polyrhythm the downbeat for each instrument is the same but the step length will differ. This video is not primarily concerned with where to put your drums on a time grid, but if you want to look deeper into contemporary approaches to polyrhythm, you can have a look at Clarence Barlow's work on metric field strength. You can find a link to the corresponding paper in the description. But when it comes to electronic music, rhythm does not need to be conveyed via sheet music anymore. Synthesizers and computers allow us a much finer control over all possible sound parameters, making a strong control over rhythm possible. It becomes clear that rhythm is intertwined with a lot of other elements, such as amplitude, pitch, space, timbre, and other changes that happen in time. In fact, and this is particularly important for electronic music, rhythm is expressed not only by the position of the notes on a time grid, but also by the change these sound elements have in pitch, amplitude, timbre, density, duration, and so on. So as our musical tools evolved, so needed the definition for rhythm. Rhythm became an emergent quality, the sum of all temporal changes within a music composition. If you want to view it even more abstractly, Curtis Rhodes defines rhythm as a continuously flowing temporal substrate, if that's more to your liking. So let's have a look at what that actually means for us composers and music producers by looking at some simplified practical examples. So to exemplify my point that rhythm is much more than where we place the notes on a time grid, I want to start with an example that you should be pretty familiar with, which is the creation of rhythm through the modulation of amplitude. No matter if it's a tremolo on a bass line or the ducking of a synthesizer, virtually all changes in amplitude will affect our perception of rhythm. Take this static bass line for example. See how your perception of rhythm changes once I apply a clocked LFO to its amplitude. About this technique is that you can literally apply amplitude changes to any sound that is longer than a few milliseconds, from kick drums to white noise. Another simple technique that can get surprisingly interesting results is the use of delay lines with short but synced up delay times. Have a listen to the hi-hat in this drum pattern without a delay. And now with a delay. This technique becomes even more intricate if you add a filter or EQ in the feedback path of the delay, so the echoes are changing over time, adding even more nuance to the rhythm. You can also use delays to find new types of rhythm that you may have not thought of before. For example, if you have a delay that repeats after 11 or 13 steps with a high amount of feedback, it will repeat and create new types of patterns in your music. If you then change the delay length, the delay will create new types of rhythmic patterns for you. In this case here, I tried it on the snare drum, which is actually only hitting on 2 and 4. Every other snare drum you hear is created by the delay. The way to create rhythm is by repetition, a repetition, a repetition, a repetition, a repetition. The way to rhythm, a repetition. This is one of my favorite techniques because you can literally use it on anything. I especially like this technique to imprint a rhythmic idea onto otherwise pretty long and timeless textures. Another thing I've shown on this channel is the use of irregular clocks that speed up or slow down over time. And you can use it to challenge yourself to find new types of rhythms in these contracting or expanding time frames. It's pretty straightforward to do this in Eurorack, but you can also do it in a DAW if it allows for automation of your BPM. Alright, so let's bring it all together with this final patch here. You will see the different techniques I've used annotated in the video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned a little bit about rhythm and maybe found a few patches that you can try out yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.